Good evening, everyone. It is 5:02 p.m. and I call this public meeting to order. I want to thank everyone who is joining us this evening. If you want to make a public comment on this item listed under the closed session agenda, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each item. Mrs. Elizondo?
Public hearing for visitors who wish to address the board on closed session items. 15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on closed session items. Speakers seeking to comment on other items are requested to make those comments during the public comment portion of the meeting at 6:30 p.m. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The school board is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item included in this section of the agenda, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining us remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing none, hearing none, I close this public hearing and adjourn to closed session to discuss items 1A through 1D. The board will reconvene at the conclusion of the closed session. Okay. What time is it? 6:43. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:43 p.m. and I call this regular meeting to order. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. I want to welcome the media and everyone joining us in person and via Zoom. We ask those joining us this evening to please silence any electronic devices not linked to this meeting. If you would like to make a public comment, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each public comment period. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, staff, and members of the public, I'd like to remind us all of our vision and our mission. Our vision states that Madera Unified will set the standard for hard work, creativity, and resiliency with a fearless drive to continuously improve. And our mission states that we are committed to creating and sustaining a culture enabling Madera Unified students to experience an unparalleled educational journey that is intellectually, socially, and personally transformative. That's the nature of our work this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Item number 3, roll call. Mrs. Elizondo, please call the roll.
Trustee Castillo.
Here.
Trustee Duque Martinez.
Here.
Trustee Ahmad.
Here.
Trustee Cortez.
Here.
Trustee Dybert.
Here.
Trustee Fleek.
Here.
Trustee Seibert.
Here.
Clerk Mendoza.
Here.
And President Salazar.
Here.
Are here.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Trustee Fleek, can you please lead us in a flag salute?
Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Fleek. Tonight's scheduled invocation will be provided by Pastor Lance Leach of Valley West Christian Center of Madera. I invite Pastor Leach to the podium.
Hi, greetings, Superintendent Lyle, trustee members and staff, community members, those that are here. Real quick, briefly, I just want to let you know this is a beautiful week this week. I tell you often when I come that we pray for you often. This week we had about 100 people here on Sunday night to pray for the school district. And then we went to every school, elementary, middle school, high school, continuation school, even Learn for Life this year. We had people there praying this Sunday evening at each one of those campuses. And then tomorrow across the schools of this city, you'll see young people who will gather at the flagpole for the national event, See You at the Pole, to pray over their individual schools, their faculty, their administration. And so know that you are being supported and being prayed for. I hope you feel it. So let's pray. Father God, we thank you for this beautiful city that we're blessed to have. And We thank you for all of the infrastructure, for the beautiful buildings and schools that we have, and those that are being planned, those that are being designed and worked on now. We thank you that, God, the finances will continue to pour in. But God, we know that it takes more than finances. It takes people with vision, people with heart, with focus, clarity, that won't give up. And so we pray for that spirit, even these teachers early on in this year that are feeling tired and just downtrodden. God, I pray that they would be strengthened. I pray for fresh vision, fresh emphasis on what they've been gifted to do. We pray for all the support across the district, the security guards to be on alert and to be ready. And God, for every administrator to be so aware of each campus that they're overseeing. We thank you for the students and the families, God, because they are the ones that we're doing this for. And we pray that they would continue to grow. Madera has a great tradition of sending kids off to great institutions, colleges, to do great things across this nation and abroad, even farther. And so we thank you that this is a place where the seed gets sown, it gets ready for the planting. And so we thank you for your continued oversight over everything that's done out of this building and the people who are overseeing it. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Beach. Closed session reportable items, actions. Mr. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, we have no items to report this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent. Adoption of the agenda. Ms. Elizondo.
Action to add or delete items from any portion of the agenda or to discuss any consent agenda items must be taken prior to the adoption of the agenda. Board Bylaw 9323.2.
Superintendent Lyle, does the staff have items to add or remove from the agenda?
We don't have anything formally to add this evening, but it was requested by one of our trustees that a member of the public was looking for the attachments in the printed documents that were available online. So to clarify some of the information with the comprehensive school improvement plans, we've printed out a table that was prepared by Director Gonzalez for the trustees here at the dais.
Thank you, Superintendent Lau. Trustees, do you have any items to add or delete from the agenda? Trustee Castillo?
No, thank you.
Trustee Duca Martinez?
No, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad? Trustee Cortez? Trustee Dybert?
No.
Trustee Fleek?
None, thank you.
Trustee Seibert?
No.
Clerk Mendoza?
No.
And myself, no. Trustees, do I have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented? Please state your name when you make the motion and second the motion.
Trustee Dybert, I move to adopt the agenda as presented with the clarification from Superintendent Lyle.
Do I have a second?
Trustee Cortez, I will second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Trustee Dybert and second by Trustee Cortez to adopt the agenda as presented. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Duque Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad?
Yes.
Trustee Cortez?
Yes.
Trustee Dybert?
Yes.
Trustee Fleek?
Yes.
Trustee Seibert?
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza?
Yes.
And President Salazar?
Yes.
President Salazar, you counted 9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 absent. 2 of the votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Communications, student and staff recognition. Introduce the blue and purple pyramid therapy dogs. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board and general public, we've had a real renaissance of innovative ideas here in the last several years. I think one of the most innovative ones is going to be displayed for you now. I'd like to invite Director Fernandez up to the podium. And Lawrence, would you please introduce our guests and share with the community this initiative, what it's for, what it's all about, and who these special guests are. The light. There you go, for the public. They can't hear you.
Okay.
Well, you gotta remember, we have tens of thousands of followers out there in my imagination. And they need to hear you.
And good evening, Superintendent Lyle and President Salazar and trustees. Good evening. I'm excited for tonight because it's almost going on, I believe, 4 years now. We've been working on the therapy dog program, and finally we're at to the point where we're almost complete with that. I want to introduce you to Lead Officer Dominguez and Officer Rowe, Therapy Dog Rowe, and then we have Lead Officer Felicia. There she is. Oh, yes. And then we don't have Yumi here yet. She'll be done in October with training. And we have lead safety officer Obregon with Jericho. And Jericho will start his certification in October. So let me give you a little understanding, a little background. They went to Valley State Prison. They were through the veterans program of therapy dogs. We got these dogs at no cost, but we picked the best temperament dogs that we wanted. If they weren't the best, we didn't accept them. And Ro was highly recommended to us, and we've seen him in action. Can I share with the story, Superintendent?
Absolutely, I think you should.
So one of the things with Ro and Tony, you want to explain it best? Because I don't want to take your story. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, just a little bit about the situation with the inmate.
Yeah, so she has had experience in situations where she has to de-escalate at the prison. There was a situation where an inmate was becoming self-abusive, was threatening to harm himself, destroying his living quarters, and the staff at the prison could not get control of him. So the lieutenant at the facility, he came to her and he said, "You know what? Let me take Ro and let me take her in there and see what she does, to see what she can do." And he took her in there. Within a minute or two, the inmate calmed down, and they were able to resolve the situation at that point.
And so we're very excited about that. So just real quick, I'll answer any question if you have. But he's got his certification already. He's going to go through 6 weeks. Sorry, oh my God. She is going to go 6 weeks of logging. Then we're going to get another certification from Bright and Beautiful. She will start her certification. He will start his certification in about next week. And then he will then get logged for 6 months, and we'll get another certification. So we're going to get 2 certifications for the dogs. But I will tell you this, Superintendent Lyle, thank you for all your support, and trustees, thank you for your support, because let me give you a quick story of how valuable and how great we are as a district to have this affordable to our students. We had by no choice to lock down a facility because of a threat was made, and we did. And I turned to my boss and I turned to Joe and I said, we can help these kids. And they said, go get Ro. And we went to go get Ro. And I tell you, Dr. Wandler, spelled that correct, Wandler? I called her and I said, how did it go, doctor? She said, Lawrence, and I may have not get it 100% right, but this is what she described. She goes, it almost brought tears to my eyes, what Ro was able to do with those children. She goes, it was therapeutic, but you had to see that, Lawrence, it was beautiful. So there was a kid there that was selective mute, that hadn't talked or conversated. We introduced Ro to him, and when she asked the class, does anybody know his name? He talked. And she was so excited about that because we made so much progress with that young man. And that was with a few minutes of visit. And we had kids that were crying. And when Ro got in there, that just changed around. So we were able to do this for the kids instantaneously. And it's been wonderful. So I want to tell you thank you. And we're excited about Jericho, another addition. And we're going to have Yumi here pretty soon. Umi, sorry. And we're going to have them all pyramids. So we're going to, although not only are there therapy dogs, but we're going to be patrolling the red, blue, and purple pyramid, and also interacting with our students that are expressing a lot of trauma or anything that they may having issues with. We're already introducing them to, and they're doing fantastic work. Is there any questions that you guys have?
Well, Lawrence, just quickly before you get to that, these are our elementary lead officers, and they're dedicated to respond to the needs of our elementary schools, of our students, our staff, and our parents. Make sure that everyone is safe. And this was a different investment than we've ever made before. But I think the reason that we all favored it and that you all were so thoughtful in approving it is because our safety officers have literally saved lots of lives and have done incredibly good work over the last several years. And so the investing in some really key people to do this kind of work and to not just be, the tough guys, on the 4 corners of our campuses. That's not who they are anymore, right? Who they really are people with a lot of soft edges who really care about our kids. And I think that what you're going to see from the work they do with their 3 therapy dogs is going to prove that to be true. And you're going to see lots of problems diminish, and an opportunity for us to interact with our kids and create a safer space and a safer set of circumstances for everyone, because we're in an era of really high anxiety. We're in an era when kids are exposed to lots of threats. They know way too much about the world. On some level, we protect them too much. On another level, they're exposed to too much. And so we need to come up with new and innovative ways to build bridges with them and to help them feel safe and comfortable at school. And you're looking at one of the most innovative ideas we've ever had. and 3 people that can do the job.
And Superintendent Lyle, so I can explain to the trustees, one of the things that we're hopeful for is like Ro would show up at John Adams one morning, then go to Lincoln. But can you imagine a child that left home, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. He's already argued with his parents. They come to school and first day they see us Ro and they're excited. Now they're smiling. So now when they're into that campus, they're petting Ro, they're excited. And now you maybe went from an environment where mom just yelled at me for getting up late, right? And I haven't ate yet and I'm upset. And then Ro comes there and then Ro's gonna cheer him up. And the same thing with Jericho and Umi is they're gonna be at the pyramid. So our hope is that we'll be at Lincoln one day, we'll be at Monroe one day, we'll be at Sierra Vista one day, and we're gonna try to equally give it out to all the students so that they equally get to see them. And then we got a lot of programs that we're expected to do, like we're gonna give teddy bears for those kids that are going through trauma, so when the dog comes back, they could experience that, give some awards away. They're gonna be at award ceremonies as well. And for doing character counts, kindness, and we're gonna be at all the football games. We're hoping to get this guy Mohawk painted blue. Sorry. So I apologize. So we're really excited, and like I said, thank you guys all trustees for your faith in me and Superintendent Lyle and SCC, because you guys we're doing things that are not done anywhere else, not a lot of places, and by this team. So thank you so much. We're excited, and if you guys would like to come out, and I'm going to volunteer you guys if you guys want to come out for a little bit and go for a ride along with them.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
One is funny, but the other one is more serious. So what does officer get paid? Does he have a job description and does he have a formal job? I see he has a badge.
Yes, he does. So one of the things, Trustee Diber, is we brought him over to HR and they onboarded him.
He's official, right?
Yes,
He's
onboarded.
She is official.
She's official,
She's
yes.
official. Okay, with
And-
benefits and everything?
And the HR
Well-
department made him part of the team, so yes. And we're gonna
Actually-
onboard this Jericho here pretty soon, and then we'll go through the process.
Sure. And the other thing is, what sort of skills and what are their, how often you go to the schools? Maybe what skills can the kids come and hug them?
yes.
And are they trained for that? So, kids can sometimes hug a little, but you have to train the kids too to make sure you don't hug them too much or you don't grab them. So I would like to know a little bit more about that.
Tony, do you want to address that a little bit real quick? And I think you can explain it.
Yes, the reception that I received from the elementary schools so far, going onto campuses has gone really well. The teachers have actually taken upon themselves, before I even approach the kids, that they need to ask to be touched before. But I've also, during the summertime, we built those relationships with the principal and the vice principals in my pyramid, just to let them know, when I do bring the dog on campus, like I would, have the kids ask to pet before. But as far as what her skills are, she's a lovable dog. And one of the skills that all 3 of the therapy dogs have is they can sense when a child's in need. The child that was selective mute, he just walked straight into the classroom. He was on his own. He sat down on the floor. He didn't approach her, and he sat Indian style, and she approached him slowly, and she sat on his lap, and she just let him pet her. And from there, we talked to him, and he was able to speak a couple minutes later, which was amazing. Yeah, so to see something like that, it just shows that, it's sort of a selective skill that they have. With that, they also do a couple tricks that we show the kids when we go into the classrooms. I've been into a kindergarten classroom on request from one of the teachers, and 4th and 5th grade, and she'll do the tricks for them, and it makes them go crazy. It gets them. Yes, it helps them a lot.
And Jericho also, one of the great things that we have with Jericho is he takes orders in Spanish too. So what we're hoping is for our newcomers, that they'll be familiar with hearing the dog give orders and commands. So we got a little bit of everything here. I'll tell you what. I did go to SEC, and because I think that I remember. If I can share with you one more story, I went into SEC thinking that they wanted me to come in with these beautiful Labradors, and I had to tell them that Jericho has an overbite. He has a mohawk. This guy has a little hip issue, but he's okay. But you know what though? When I thought about it, and we have a Saint Bernard coming half mix. When I thought about it though, I said, you know what? Our dogs aren't perfect. They're not perfect. Our kids aren't perfect, but they are perfect. And so we wanted to relate that way to them. These are beautiful dogs, just like our children. And they may not be the most gorgeous, but they're beautiful. And Yes, and so I'm happy how things worked out. So again, thank you. We
Yeah.
plan on, Trustee Dybert, is to be at the schools throughout the day. There's only so much we could do, but we're gonna try to do about 3 to 4 schools a day, typically. That's what our hope is, but we got strong workers that are always out there to get the job done. So wherever the need is, and I'll tell you, if there's a need at, just say Torres, all of us will deploy to Torres. We're trying to work pyramids just for work schedules and to be familiar with those schools, but if we all had to go there, we're all gonna go there. Wherever the need is, if you call me and say, I need you out of school, then we're gonna deploy there, whatever the needs of the student and the staff.
And it's really important to understand that we have a lot of dysregulated students, little guys, sometimes usually between the ages of about 4 and 8. And we have teachers who are really working hard to try to understand how to relate to them and how to build boundaries and relationships, because they need that. They need all of that. They need to know they're safe, but they need to know what is expected of them, what they can and they can't do. And in those moments of dysregulation, when it's really, really hard to deal with them, and in the past and currently still, we sometimes have to evacuate a classroom, and we have teachers and students who are really frustrated and really worried about an individual student's behavior. This is a way to get at that moment we've never had before. We're not saying it's a silver bullet. It won't fix everything, but it gives us a chance we haven't had. And we know we need to do a lot of work with our dysregulated students. All of our kids need to be in classrooms, and our teachers deserve to be in classrooms where students are regulated so that we can learn. So this is one way we can try to help the youngest and sometimes most dysregulated find some stability, so we can begin to work with Dr. Wandler and her team so we can stabilize these students. So this is going to be tough work. These 3 are up for it, but this is very tough work ahead of us.
I don't think I really understood what I was getting myself into, but I'm really happy. I'm really happy that I got this team. I have your support, and we're gonna make this work. I won't let you guys down.
Well, our teachers, let's just be really clear about this. Our teachers and our students need you to be there when that happens and to be able to get there as quickly as possible, because those kids need every minute in school to be stable and healthy, right? And when you're there to help stabilize and create a healthy classroom environment, it changes everything. It gives us a fighting chance. So I just want to say thank you for that.
Superintendent Lau, we're already starting to build relationships with those kids now before we had to go to crisis. But I'm sorry, I took up too much time. I talked way too much. I'm really excited.
I have a question.
And thank you guys for having us. We're gonna come back if you guys allow us to introduce you to Jericho. Oh, not Jericho. Umi, yes.
Thank you,
So
guys.
we'll be back.
Dr.
Thank you guys.
Lawrence.
Oh, yes, sir.
Aside from the benefits that the dogs receive, like, food, clothing, shelter, and all that, are they going to get their pyramid colors or?
We got a lot of I'm talking too long. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna get in trouble. But what we're hoping, we got a lot of plans, and I'm open for suggestions. So if you guys have, but yes, we want to get patches, so when they're at Alpha Gators, they're gonna have their Alpha Gator patch, and we want to work those things. If they're at their pyramid school, we want to buy in. We want ownership from the schools. So we want to be at their school. What are they? Open houses. And the dog will be there. We want to be at the football games. So we have a lot of plans for them. And yes, when they're at their colors, we're going to invest them to wear those colors. So it's school spirit. So when they go to Parkwood Elementary, that's going to be their dog. That's Parkwood dog. So we want that buy-in. Unless you have any suggestions, sir, I'll do it.
No.
Thank you very much, Lawrence. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Now on to the Madera minutes. Thank you.
That's pretty fun.
Ray wants a coyote at Madera High.
Oh, what? A therapy bowl. I can see it now. What could possibly go wrong? President Salazar, Kirk Mendoza, members of the board, and public, here are some highlights from the last few weeks, and they have been pretty intense weeks of school activities.
Torres High School students and local firefighters joined forces to pay tribute to the 343 firefighters who made the ultimate sacrifice on September 11, 2001, by participating in a stair climb challenge, walking the equivalent of the 110 stories of the World Trade Center. In other things, Madera FFA members participated in various showings at the Madera County Fair. They presented their livestock in the dairy cattle showing and other categories, earning various accolades. And Madera Unified League of Elementary Schools hosted its wrestling tournament, where students from around the district showcased their skills. Congratulations to all the students who came out on top. Special needs students from Madera Unified representing Torres and Madera South High Schools participated in the annual Unified Soccer event at the Stallion Stadium. The students played a friendly match against other districts, highlighting the spirit of teamwork and sportsmanship. The annual Varsity Football Stadium Road Showdown at Memorial Stadium brought the community together in support of Madera and Madera South High School student athletes, with Madera High School emerging victorious. In a display of community spirit, local photographer George Orozco successfully brought together rival football players from Madera Unified for a unity photo shoot with the help of Madera High School student Abby Romero. This initiative, featuring Torres, Madera, and Madera South High School athletes, took place at Madera County Fair. The photo shoot is a powerful reminder that while these athletes may wear different jerseys on the field, they all share a common goal: representing Madera with pride.
Thank you, Superintendent. Item number 6B, public hearing for visitors who wish to speak on a subject not on the board agenda. Ms. Elizondo?
15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the school board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the board president has the option of asking the speaker to hold that comment until the item is called. Comments on items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held until the hearing is opened. The school board is prohibited by law from taking actions on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item not on the board agenda, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing or hearing no one, I close this public hearing. Item number 6C, public hearing. I would like to inform the public that the first public hearing listed in this section is for an item included under new business. The public will have another opportunity to comment on that item when it is discussed later on in the meeting under new business, item number 13A1. 6:45 p.m. public hearing of the textbook and instructional materials compliance certification, a provision of standards aligned instructional materials for grades K through 12. It is 7:09 p.m. and I open this for public hearing. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board on this item included in this section, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they appear on our screen or approach our podium. President Salazar, we do not have participants to wish to address the board at this time for this item either.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing or hearing no one, I choose a public hearing at 7:10 p.m. Public hearing, moving on, public hearing and sunshine of Madera Unified School District's negotiations proposal with the Madera Unified School Teachers Association, MUTA, is 7:10 p.m. and I open this to public hearing. Ms. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board on this item, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you're joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach our podium or appear on our screen.
Thank you, Mr. Elizondo. Seeing or hearing no one, I close the public hearing at 7:11 p.m. Public hearing and sunshine of the Madera Unified Teachers Association, MUTA, negotiations and proposal with Madera Unified School District. It is 7:11 p.m. and I open this to public hearing. Mr. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board on this item, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach our podium or appear on our screen.
Thank you, Mr. Elizondo. Seeing or hearing no one, I close the public hearing at 7:12 p.m. Item number 7, Student Board Representative Report. Cameron D. Barrow of Madera South High School and Julissa Cruz of Alternative Education. Student Board Member Report. Okay, so first we go with Mrs. Barrow.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the Governing Board, and Superintendent Lyle. My name is Carmen D. Burrow, and I'm here to be presenting Madera South. Again, I'm back. So I wanted to go over a few things that have happened so far. Not much has happened, like earlier, how I had a lot to say since I was here not that long ago. But we had our Stadium Showdown Rally, and we decided that we wanted to have a little bit of a change. So we actually had our Showdown Rally in our actual stadium. So we were actually on the football field and in the stadium. It was really hot, but it was really fun for a lot of us. We had the bike race between staff and students, and Principal Simons was having fun. And then we had my cheer team perform. And then we had different games. We also introduced our new Stanley because we got a new mascot outfit. So that was really fun, and a lot of the kids were excited about it. Stadium Showdown game. Now this, I could talk about this all day. Like, it was so much fun. We actually did something different, and we had our JV cheer for flag football. So the JV still came out and they were cheering for flag, and like, it was really fun. I think our flag girls won. It was amazing. I know that they were all really happy. And then we did a halftime for cheer, and we did that also for the rally in the morning too. And I know that a lot of us were just super excited because we love doing halftimes, especially when the other team lets us have a halftime. It makes us feel so welcomed and so like a part of everything. And then our boys football, I seen the determination on their faces. They had so much fun, and they just like, even though it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, you could just see that even though that's what happened, they were so happy that they worked together as a team and they were able to have this, because a lot of them are seniors. So they're just like, it's senior year, it's okay. Like, we're doing this together, and that's what matters. And our student section was amazing. We had band. This is our first home game, if you will, because it's in Madera. But the student section was amazing. We had people come from South. We had people just in the area come out. Band was there. We had like Purple Fog. It was great. It was really interactive, and I had a lot of people saying that they were actually in the student section, how fun it was. And Stanley was in the student section for a while. He was over there dancing. It was so fun. We also did a t-shirt toss for the first time. Last year we didn't do one from my knowledge. But my coach was like, you know what, we're going to do something different. Get up there, throw up some stunts, throw some t-shirts, just have fun with it. So it was a lot of freedom with it, and it was really fun. And then at the end, we also did our unity dance with the other cheer team. So it was very like inclusive, where it was like, everyone, no matter what team you're from, no matter who you are, come out here and dance with us. And we all got together, and I seen a lot of my friends in North, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it was just a lot of fun. All of us were not rivals at that point. It was just, that was our little cheer family, and it was really fun. Madera Unified Soccer, one of our cheer girls actually is there, and she had so much fun working with these kids. Like, even though a lot of people like say that it's difficult, she loves it. Like, she loves being so interactive with these kids, and it's not exactly like, oh, we have to go do this. It's like, we get to do this, and they love it. And they had such an like strong knit time with one another, and they were just so happy to work with one another. And it wasn't just like, oh, we're just here because we have to be. It's like, this is actually something that we enjoy and we want to do more often. Drama. I personally have not gone, and I'm looking forward to it this weekend. But like the pictures that I've seen, the stories that I've heard from the actual under where the sky meets the sea, I heard it's just so surreal, and you feel like you're in it as well, because we just have such great actors in our drama, and they can just really paint the story in a way that I can't even begin to describe. And it's just something where you'd have to come out and come see it, and it's honestly, like, it doesn't even feel like it's a school play. Like, you just feel like you're in front of an actual, like licensed performers, if you will. Host a blood drive. It was so nice. I know that a lot of people gave blood, and I know some of my cheerleaders too. They gave blood too, and they were like, "Oh, I can't stop because I gave blood," but they were so happy that they did. And it's just, there's like, even though you are giving blood, and also some people get a little queasy, but they love the idea of, I'm helping somebody else, and I get to do this for everyone else, and I get to just be a part of the community. And then our upcoming events, I would go into more detail, but I feel like I've been up here long enough. But we have so many different events, and I know a lot of us are really excited for those events. And once again, you should come out, come say hi, come join us for our events. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. I invite Julissa Cruz to present the Alternative Education Student Board Representative Report.
Good evening, Board President, Superintendent Layo, and board members. My name is Julissa Cruz, and I'm a junior at Mount Vista High School. I'll be presenting information on behalf of the Alternative Education Schools. Thank you. First up is Mount Vista High School. Students are excited to be back on campus at Mount Vista for an open house. We had a good turnout. Many students joined us with their parents, and students were excited to introduce their parents to our staff. There were many prizes, and our staff cooked hot dogs and made popcorn to welcome families. On September 12th, we hosted a NWA barbecue as a way of saying thank you to our students for completing the NWA test. We had 98% of students that fully participated in completing the test. Everyone was treated to a hamburger, a drink, and chips for all of their hard work. As of Wednesday, the 18th, we started our morning student announcements. We present the weather, upcoming events, quotes, events of the day, and daily student and staff shoutouts. Next is Ripperton High School. New day with new opportunities to grow and become great individuals in the classroom and become great within ourselves. Ripperton students attended Desmond, MLK, and Thomas Jefferson Middle Schools and mentored students on Thursday for the month of September. Ripperton students would speak with middle school students on their personal experience and provide guidance for them. On September 13th, the Ripperton Roadrunners volleyball team traveled to Tracy to compete in a volleyball tournament at Stein High School. The Ripperton Roadrunners placed top 6 and came home with a plaque and individual medals for their participants. This is an image of Ripperton students exploring their campus life with activities. Students and staff took care of recycling duties for several weeks and collected cans and plastic bottles for their class. On September 20th, our students and staff visited San Francisco and attended the Art Museum and went sightseeing in Chinatown. Our staff at Ripperton nominated these students for Student of the Week for the month of September. These students displayed resilient, optimistic, accountable, and dedicated to themselves, family, school, and community. Next slide, please. Thank you. Up next is the Furman Independent Study Information. Mr. Bennett and the Thank you. Mr. Bennett and the Furman staff welcomed students back to school with a tasty hamburger lunch. Staff and students had a great time having lunch together. Furman's Distinguished Teacher of the Year was celebrated on September 5th. Congratulations to both Mr. Bravo, our high school teacher, and Ms. John, our elementary teacher. We celebrated their accomplishments. Students' leadership spearheaded a plan to sell salad nachos at an upcoming event. With the help of Mr. Bennett and teachers, they made decisions about the product they would be selling. Students met with Principal Angus to discuss upcoming events for students at Furman. Lots of ideas were shared, and fun events were planned for the future. Students, parents, and staff participated in an Asada Nachos fundraiser for student leadership. Students worked together as a team to get everyone served in a friendly, professional manner. It was a lot of fun. Students attended a Hispanic Heritage Month event at Virginia Lee Rose and helped sell pizza. They put leadership and sales skills to work and had a lot of fun working together. All of the alternative education school sites believe in helping all students finish strong and to graduate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. Student Board Member Information and Report. Trustee Castillo, I invite you to share your report with the board.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Angelica Castillo. I'm the student representative or the student board member from Madera High School. Good evening, fellow trustees, Superintendent Lyle, and members of the audience. For the past month, we have had so many amazing events that have boosted morale on campus. The event that I received the most positive feedback on and continue to hear about was our school-wide Club Rush. Club Rush is when students get the opportunity to sign up for extracurriculars or clubs that appeal to students' interests, hobbies, identities, or beliefs. Students have been mentioning how much more at home they feel with groups of new people that they can bond with over similarities. Clubs have made it easier for students to make friends, pursue their interests or hobbies, and spend their free time. Speaking of clubs, this week, our on-campus groups and clubs are preparing for homecoming. Our homecoming parade will be next Friday with participants from almost every group. Our theme this year is international, so each float will represent different nations, cultures, and traditions. Most clubs and organizations will be starting construction on their floats this week, so students are congregating after school, working together, and building beautiful floats that everyone will get to see and appreciate next week. We recently had a House of Reps meeting where a student representative from each classroom attended a meeting in the cafeteria to discuss opportunities for student advocacy. This first meeting was mostly an introduction, introducing some of our staff that is involved with these meetings, introducing Madera High School's alternate student representative and my good friend, Aiden De La Cruz, as well as introducing myself. They gave a general overview of what to expect in these student voice meetings, how often we will be having them, and their significance. On that note, sometime in the near future, we hope to host a friendly meeting with Superintendent Lyle and different representatives from clubs, social groups, and student council. Our ideal scenario is that a member of each organization will be able to meet and familiarize themselves with Mr. Lyle, encouraging our students to communicate with our district staff and providing that first opportunity for us to interface with one another. Our sports events have also brought our school together. I'd like to give a special shout out to our JV and varsity football teams for their victory at this year's showdown football game against Madera South. During that football game, the student section was filled from the bottom to the top of the stands and was so lively. Our water polo team, girls gymnastics team, girls tennis, volleyball, and golf have all been so passionate about their sports and working very hard. Aside from their amazing records, our athletes have been staying positive and being good role models on and off the field, mat, or pool. Finally, feedback on the 7-day period is still varying. Some people have mentioned from all grades, but mostly freshman and sophomore classes, that they have become tired or overwhelmed by the increased amount of classes or homework. However, others have enjoyed the new opportunities it opens. Kids can now take extra elective classes while simultaneously getting their foreign language or visual and performing art credits. Over time, I think we'll be able to see if students learn new ways to adapt to this schedule or if their opinions continue to stay the same. I am honored to be able to share this information with you and hope you are just as excited as our students are. Thank you for your time, and I hope you can make it to a few of our events.
Thank you, Mrs. Castillo. Now I invite Trustee Duque Martinez. I invite you to share your report with the board.
Thank you. Good evening, buenas tardes, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, Superintendent Lyle, staff, and members of the public. I hope you all are doing well and maintaining good health. In my previous report, I mentioned our campus climate had progressed from former concerns. I am elated to express that our students have continued to flourish since then through the assistance of supportive staff, safe environments, and open minds in all settings. From week-long awareness ventures to the club meetings held almost daily, the campus has been buzzing with inclusivity as we work to acknowledge all members of the student body while advancing towards the opening of opportunities. We stand by in anticipation of a campus who will soon acknowledge the importance of their individuality. On that note, Madera County Mental and Behavioral Health has invited 3 tourist students to attend the Mental Health Youth Summit in Anaheim from October 19th to the 21st, and I'm grateful to announce that I will be one of the students attending. This commitment is something that will not be taken lightly and has not been taken lightly, as we have put aside a variety of undertakings, but after thoroughly analyzing this decision, we knew it was not only where we needed to be, but where we were meant to be. With that being said, we are optimistic that this will benefit the ways in which we contribute to not only our school, but to the community as a whole. Before concluding, I would like to give notice that both THS alternate Capri Adams and I have been working to finalize the key details for our first student voice meeting of the school year. We eagerly await the feedback from the student leaders who will be fundamental factors in the implementation of new ideas, strategies, and overall processes for the enhancement of our campus. I would like to invite you all to the meeting, which will be held on September 30th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. in the Torres High Lecture Hall. An email will be sent out if it has not already been sent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Trustee Duque Martinez. Now on to item number 9, consent agenda. Mrs. Elizondo?
Items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and are acted on by the Board of Trustees in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board or staff requests specific items be considered and discussed separately and or removed from the consent agenda prior to the adoption of the agenda. It is understood that the administration recommends approval on all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the Board of Trustees shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended.
I now open the consent agenda for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board on an item included in the consent agenda, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. I now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. State your name when making the motion and when you second the motion. Trustees?
Trustee Dyber, I move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Trustee Ahmad, second.
Okay, thank you. It has been moved by Trustee Dybert and second by Trustee Ahmad to approve the consent agenda. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Castillo?
Yes.
Trustee Duque Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad?
Yes.
Trustee Cortez?
Yes.
Trustee Dybert?
Yes.
Trustee Fleek?
Yes.
Trustee Seibert?
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza?
Yes.
And President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 absent. 2 of the votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. At this time, I would like to take the opportunity to thank and acknowledge the following retiree for her service and not and only to Madera Unified, but also for the service and commitment to Madera community. Michelle Umlin, a teacher at Desmond Middle School, will retire on June 6, 2025, after 22 years of service. Thank you, Mrs. Umlin. Moving on to item number 10, information and reports, union time. At this time, I invite the president of the union to address the board. Mr. Holder? Thank you, Mr. Holder. Do we have any other union presidents?
No, we do not, President Salazar.
Thank you. Item number 11, superintendent time.
President Salazar, I have nothing for you this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent. Old business. Item number 12A1, educational services, approval of the school plans for student achievement. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board and public, we have Associate Superintendent Sissel here for this item, and we've been working on it pretty diligently. So if you would, Ms. Sissel.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees, Superintendent Lyle. Tonight, we are here to ask for the board's approval of the SIPSAs that were presented for a first read at the previous board meeting. And tonight would be the final read and approval of those documents. I had the opportunity to meet with a number of the trustees and answered many questions to help provide clarification when needed. And tonight, if there is further clarification or questions, we do have each principal online to answer questions that would be specific to the plans.
Thank you, Ms. Soso. I now open this up for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board regarding this item, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I start with Trustee Castillo.
No, thank you.
Trustee Duque Martinez.
None, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad.
No, thank you.
Trustee Cortez.
No.
Thank you. Trustee Dybert.
I don't have any questions, but I do want to acknowledge Assistant Superintendent Sissel for taking the time to explain to us what the SIPSAs are and how they are aligned with the LCAP, and how the CSI is also included in the SIPSAs. So all of that for me was new when I was trying to go over the CSI plans. It was addressed to me that it's in here, and I did see it. And I'm also happy to see that some of the CSI monies are going to be used for field trips, because on some of the visits that we've gone to school sites, that's what the students have asked and staff, and I'm glad that you guys are listening to them, and that's included, especially for Ripperden School. I'm so happy to see that. So I do want to thank Director Johnny Gonzalez and Mr. Carrasco as well for helping and explaining that to us. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Dybert. Trustee Fleek?
No, I just wanted to thank them also for taking the time to meet with us, and so I have no questions because you did such a good job.
Thank you, Trustee Fleek. Trustee Seibert?
No questions.
Trustee Cortez, sorry, Clerk Mendoza. You know who you are.
I know I am. And they do too. No, nothing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Myself, of course, I went over stuff and I always create my own charts and stuff, but I like where they, in their budget summary, where they explain their strategic, how they plan, how they budget themselves, how they apply those funds. And I thank you for the details for staff and the different site principals. But this is more clarity, this reporting you guys did. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I thank you for explaining to me the budget and everything as well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Trustee. I now entertain a motion, and I second a motion to approve the 12A. Please state your name when you make the motion and you second the motion.
Trustee Fleek, I move to approve the school plans for student achievement.
Thank you.
Clerk Mendoza, I'll second it.
Thank you. It has been moved by Trustee Fleek and second by Clerk Mendoza to approve item 12A1. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Castillo?
Yes.
Trustee Duque Martinez?
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad?
Yes.
Trustee Cortez?
Yes.
Trustee Dybert?
Yes.
Trustee Fleek?
Yes.
Trustee Seibert?
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza?
Yes.
And President Salazar?
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstention, and 0 absent. 2 of the votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Moving on to item number 13, new business, educational services. Item number 13A1, adopt resolution number 2024-25 for textbook and instructional materials compliance, certification of provision of standards, aligned instructional material for grades K through 12. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board and public, we have our Director of Curriculum and Instruction and Assessment for Elementary Schools here for this item, Ms. Nicole Guerriero. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, and Superintendent Lyle. I know this item is not as exciting as the therapy dogs, but this is a routine item following the public hearing that we held for the textbook and instructional materials compliance certification of standards-aligned instructional materials for grades K-12. Each year, Education Code requires the governing board to then determine through resolution whether every student in the district has sufficient textbooks or instructional materials that are aligned with state content standards. Sufficiency of instructional materials under Education Code 60119C1 states that sufficient textbooks or instructional materials mean each pupil, including English learners, has a standards-aligned textbook or instructional materials or both to use in class and to take home. This Ed Code does not require two sets of textbooks or instructional materials for each pupil. This specifically applies to the core subject areas of English language arts, mathematics, science, history, social science, and foreign language. This resolution before you affirms that Madera Unified School District is in compliance with the state education code regarding sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials for all students, kindergarten through grade 12. Thank you. So fancy.
Thank you, Associate Superintendent. Oh, that was just, where am I at? I lost my space.
I don't want that job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I now open this item for public comments. Ms. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board regarding this item, please step up to the podium and state your name and city of residence. If you are joining remotely and would like to make a public comment, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. Speakers will be allowed to address the board in the order they approach the podium or appear on our screen. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board on this item.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I start with Trustee Castillo.
None, thank you.
Trustee Duque Martinez.
None, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad.
No.
Trustee Cortez.
No.
Trustee Dybert.
No.
Thank you. Trustee Fleek.
No questions, but I'd like to say that I was going to call you Nicole.
It's okay.
Nicole and I, we used to have reading buddies. So it was a fun time.
It was.
It was
good
a
days.
lot calmer. But no questions. Thank you.
Trustee Seibert.
No.
Clerk Mendoza.
No questions, thank you.
None for myself either. I now entertain a motion. I second a motion to approve the 13A1. Please state your name when making a motion and second a motion.
Trustee Fleek, I move to adopt resolution number 5/2024-25 for the textbook and instructional materials compliance certification of provision of standards-aligned instructional material for grades K-12.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Clerk Mendoza, I have, yes.
Yes, what?
I second it.
Okay, that has been moved by Trustee Fleek and second by Clerk Mendoza to approve item 12A1. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Castillo.
Yes.
Trustee Duque Martinez.
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad.
Yes.
Trustee Cortez.
Yes.
Trustee Dybert.
Yes.
Trustee Fleek.
Yes.
Trustee Seibert.
Yes.
Clerk Mendoza.
Yes.
And President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar counted 9 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 0 absent. 2 of the votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Now on to item number 13B, school leadership. 13B1, present and discuss the Red Pyramid Growth Report. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, members of the board, and general public, we have Assistant Superintendent of School Leadership, Horacio Rodriguez, here for this item. Mr. Rodriguez, take her home. Home
Good
stretch.
evening. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, trustees. It's my pleasure tonight to present to you the Red Pyramid Growth Report, the 3 of 3. And so we will have a presentation slide up for you to see the beginning. You can go to the next slide, please, David. Thank you. So this slide, this table represents a summary of each school with the data point that's based on the board goal, which reflects the percentage of students who met their growth target this last school year between fall and spring. So on the left there, you see the reading data, and on the right, you see the mathematics data. So for example, you would read it from left to right. Mount Vista had 53% of students meet their best growth target in reading last school year between fall and spring. In the same case of Mount Vista, you would have the example of mathematics. 42% of students met their best growth target from fall to spring. So that's one of the metrics that we take a look at. And of course, as you know, and we've discussed several times, our board goal is based on that metric. We have that summary there. The next slide.
Excuse me.
Yes.
This is for last year, you said?
Last school year, between fall and spring, yes. Mm-hmm. And so the second metric we look at is after we consider the percentage of students who grew at an accelerated rate, we then break it down by school and by grade level. So the next slide, what that represents is one school by grade level. And as you might recall, what this metric does is it actually compares that grade level to every student in that grade level across the nation who took the assessment. And so that we call conditional growth percentiles, you might recall. And you have the example here of Berinda, where you can see the line toward the middle there, that dotted line represents average growth. If the lower you are, the slower your growth, the higher you are, the higher your growth. And so we used the symbols of the hot air balloon, the airplane, and the rocket ship to represent the speed of growth. If we found that a grade level was growing below average, it doesn't mean that they're not growing, but they're growing too slowly. And if as a grade level, they're not achieving at a very high rate and they're growing slowly, they're actually falling further behind. And so in general, we never want to see that. So in a school like Berinda, and as you'll see in the Red Pyramid across the board, you see over the last few years, fewer and fewer grade levels at that metric or at that growth rate. We're finding that in the last several years in particular, as you can see there, the vast majority of grade levels are growing at an accelerated rate. So if you take a look here, all but 2 grade levels are growing at an above average rate, and the vast majority are growing at an extremely fast rate. An example of that would be, let's just say 6th grade mathematics. In that case, that's the column on the far right. And you would see they grew faster than 98% of 6th graders across the nation. So only 2% of 6th graders in the nation grew at a faster rate than the 6th graders at Berinda last school year. And so as we've shared before, that is a tremendously fast rate. The only thing faster than 98th percentile is the 99th percentile. Can't get much faster. So we are starting to see the results of the work the last several years, the goal setting that we've done, and the SAP work we've done to improve our instructional practices and accelerate learning at all the schools. Berinda is one example. You can see there are a couple of grade levels that are not where they need to be, and that is where the work lies for the leadership teams at that particular school site. And as you'll see across the district, the level of work is narrowing. We're starting to see a more prescriptive approach by our site leaders and our leadership teams. We're not at a point, as you can see, where it's improvement across the board. We don't we're not drowning in improvement efforts. We're starting to get more specific in our work, which is a pretty exciting place to be. The next school you can find here is Dixieland. You can see they're a K-8, so you see more grade levels. And you find there that really only 2 grade levels of both reading and math across the board are growing at a below average rate. And you see really astronomical growth last year in particular at that school. So a lot of really good work being done at Dixieland. And just a friendly reminder that you'll see in reading, you only measure 3rd grade and up for reading for that assessment. In the primary grades, it's a different measure, and we're not able to produce the same growth rate data out of that metric because of the nature of the reading assessment. But in math, you are able to see 1st through 8th grade. So really proud of the work there at Dixieland. The next school is James Monroe. And as you can see, for James Monroe, only 1 grade level is below average in rate of growth. That is their 4th grade. But across the board, a very high rate of growth across the board. Math in particular, but in reading, you see a standout in 3rd grade and 5th grade. You can see 99th percentile growth. You just can't grow faster than that. And so, and just a quick side note, in James Monroe is projected to have the highest math scores in the district. And when compared to other like schools in the state of California, there's about 150 schools that demographically are similar to Monroe. Out of about 150 schools, they're ranked number 1 in the state. You'll find quite a few of our schools, when you compare them demographically to other schools similar to them, they're highly ranked in the state, actually. The next school, which is showing quite a bit of impressive growth, in particular in math, is Nishimoto. And you can see 2 grade levels who are below average, but the vast majority are at an above average rate, with very significant growth, in particular in math. You can see in 1st, 3rd, and 6th grade. And in this last year, 1st grade, I mean, they just blew it out of the water. It was amazing the growth they had in 1st grade math. And Nishimoto, that team really did well. But as you can see across the board, you're starting to see an acceleration rate happening in Nishimoto in particular. The next one is Pershing. I would say of all the data, the most impressive data that I've seen in the district is this school, where you see every grade level just knocking it out of the park. I mean, they're skyrocketing at every grade level, every subject. Just the work there is really commendable. I think the team, the admin team, the leadership team, and all the teachers there should be really proud of what they accomplished this last year. And that's some pretty hard-earned work, I know. And so Pershing deserves quite a bit of compliments because of that level of growth. It's astronomical, actually. Now we move on to our middle schools, where we see the work starting, but as you've seen in 7th grade across the district, it is a challenge for us. As you might recall, and we've invested pretty heavily in middle school this year. Our strategy is that by adding the additional staff, by shifting resources that direction, that we start to see a more attentive admin team, a team that's able to actually spend time with their teacher teams, to spend time in classrooms, to help support brand new teachers, to help reduce some of the vacancy rates that we have in middle school. Oftentimes you'll find in middle schools, you'll see vacancies, unfilled positions that result in some of this data. It's pretty frustrating when you have at a school, you just have a vacant math position and you have a long-term sub there, and you look at this data and you go, man, how do you fix that? So there has been, in particular this year, the investment in middle school that I think will pay dividends. And you can see where the need is in 7th grade. But of course, at Desmond, you can see in 8th grade, a pretty significant growth in both reading and math, but math in particular. And then we move on to Matilda Torres High School, where you see a high rate of growth across the board, every grade level, every subject. And I do want to have a little shout out to Torres's ELA department and their administrative team, where they're one of the schools, Torres and Madera South, that we project, we're not sure yet, it's not official, but we project that they will be green in ELA on the dashboard, which is commendable also. So Torres had significant growth on CASP and in ELA, but as you can see, our projections, we're starting to show that on NWA. You can see very significant growth there. Lastly, a school that never fails to impress all of us with their growth is Mount Vista High School, our continuation school. They've showed significant growth repeatedly in math historically and more recently in ELA even. You can see the rate of growth there. That just the context and setting is unique at Mount Vista. Students get a lot of individualized support. The school's smaller, the classrooms are have smaller caseloads, and the growth rate is indicative of a lot of specialized and personalized learning that happens there. And every year you see this much growth. In fact, their achievement levels are starting to pass up some of the comprehensive. So that growth is compounding and is changing achievement even there too. So some impressive things happening at Mount Vista too. All across the board of the red pyramid, we see pretty positive signs, and you can see very few grade levels by school that aren't reflective of the amount of growth we're seeing. So the principals are developing their plans, their improvement efforts called SAP, very specifically focused on improving in the areas that they're finding they're not improving on, and also supporting the grade level teams and building those teams up to be stronger teams so that these results change for all grade levels and we're not leaving any grade level behind. As you see in almost every school, you have one or two grade levels that are kind of lagging behind the others, and there's a variety of reasons for that we then drill down at the school level, at the grade level, at the teacher level, at the student level to improve. And that's been our strategy all along, and I think that's why you're seeing so much improvement. So with that, I conclude my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
May I just very quickly, President Salazar? Horacio, would you take us back to the original slide? David, would you take us back to the original slide that shows, keep going backwards?
The very first slide, the first
Very
table?
first slide, yeah, first table.
Percent met best?
Yeah, percent
It'd be
met best.
the second slide, sorry. Just
There you
behind
go.
the title slide.
There you are. Thank you. So when you saw that our students are growing in many cases, in the 96th, 7th, 8th, and 9th percentile, then that translates into this many kids meeting their growth target. I hope you recognize, and I know that Horacio has shared this, on many occasions, tried to really help us all see this. Like, we can't do better than the 97th, 98th, 99th percentile. That's the fastest that kids can humanly grow, and there's still it's challenging to meet the growth target, right? The board's goal. That doesn't mean we can't do it. We're trying, and that you can see that effort is real. I want to draw those two things together for you. Like, this is where we started, and then what you saw. The growth you saw is what you're looking for, what we're all looking for in many of our grade levels. And I think the second point that's really important for me, I'm sure there's multiple really important points. But Horacio made the point, and I think he's exactly right to say it, that had we looked at this in 2015, we would have seen most grade levels struggling in most every school aside from a few. Pershing was doing pretty well at that time. There were a few that were doing pretty well at that time, but not like they're doing now. So as a result, we're able to target the leadership work at our school sites with our principals and the directors in ed services, our area assistant superintendents. There's a combination of resources. There's overlapping areas of responsibility, and there are services that we can provide. And the work that Horacio and his team are doing together is just essential to be able to just target exactly what's needed, where it's needed, and to support those teams doing really good work and not get in their way. We want them to get innovative. We want them to feel confident. We want them to trust the process. And we have a group of service providers in ed services and in student family support services that are there to help in so many ways, like whether it's with classroom management or whether it's with unwrapping standards and making sure that we're doing the exactly right work, the essential work that's got to be done. There is a wide variety of services we're providing now, and we're getting better and better and better at organizing that. And because we aren't drowning, as Horacio said, we're able to now really think clearly about what needs to happen and where. So I want you to see that the work on this has been really interdepartmental. It's been highly collaborative. It's been really focused. It's a credit to a lot of good leaders in a lot of important places, starting with Horacio and his team, Cheryl and her team, Prince and his team, and the school site principals and the teacher leaders. I think we need to really focus on how important teacher leadership is in those areas that are taking off like rocket ships. That doesn't happen without high quality teacher leaders who believe in their principles and who are working together on their strategic action plans. So a lot of things are coming into play now. And as was said earlier tonight, we've invested in a lot of teachers that do really great work to support teachers already working really hard. And that didn't used to be the case, as Trustee Seibert reminded us earlier this evening. There is a lot happening now because of your willingness to invest and believe in this that's starting to really turn around. And I think, Horacio, you did a fantastic job of clarifying and making it nice and crystal clear that it doesn't, I mean, we can get better. We can get better in some key places, but there's some places where we can't get much better than what we're doing now.
And our intention is to keep going just as fast. I mean, that is our goal. We don't want to slow down. We want to break the ceiling. I mean, that's what we wake up every day to do that. I mean, these numbers represent people to us. They're kids who are learning to read. So there's the story behind the numbers that we get down to that level. And it's nice to be able to get down to that level. Our conversations aren't, and we have to improve everything. We're now at a point where we can go, at this school, it's this grade level. That's where our work is.
In this subject matter, and in these essential standards sometimes even.
And we're in a good place. I think the level of collaboration at the executive cabinet level, the work between the divisions, the quality of administrators who we've hired this year. This is my 20th year in the district, and I've been in Madera schools my entire life, since kindergarten. I've never seen this level of health and quality of leadership and teaching. I just haven't seen it before. So we're pretty proud of it so far, but we're not done. We have a lot of work to do.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Rodriguez and staff for the presentation. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I start with Trustee Castillo.
I do have a question. Is there a reason why in the elementary schools, first and second grade aren't included in the reading growth percentile statistics?
There is a reason, and it has to do with the assessment for reading. So for NWA, the very popular, we know you guys love that assessment. In mathematics, you can give it first grade all the way to 12th grade. You give it first through 11th grade generally. 12th graders are students who are learning English, take the assessment because it's a really good measure. When it comes to the reading portion, because of the type of assessment, because kids at that grade level aren't quite reading at the level required by the assessment, NWA MAP growth assessment, they take a different type of assessment. And imagine a first grader taking the first grade version of the assessment you're used to taking. Imagine how hard that would be because they're just learning to put words together, sentences. So their assessment's different. It is an NWA brand assessment, but it's called the fluency assessment. And so because they're just developing reading skills, there's that assessment is measuring improvement in those skills that's not included in this. So long story short, it's a different test.
Is there anywhere for us to find those statistics?
We do have it. In fact, we can share it with you. It's not quite as cleanly presented. It's more like a ton of spreadsheets that you have to interpret, but we can. I mean, we do have them. They don't fit this model in the sense that you don't get growth rate. You get other metrics that are more nuanced. You get multiple measures. So you have to look at multiple things. You look at reading terms like fluency and phonics and where they are at that. So you get multiple measures per student.
Thank you.
No problem. And the person who's best to present that would be Mrs. G, who's probably already gone.
Thank you. Ms. Duque Martinez?
None, thank you.
Trustee Ahmad, do you have any questions?
No.
Trustee Cortez, do you have any questions?
Yes, I do, actually. Just regarding Dixieland, so it's interesting to me to see that they are also experiencing that dip in seventh grade.
Mhm.
It's not specific to our
Yeah.
just middle schools when kids are transitioning from one school site
Yep.
to another totally new school site.
That might, without revealing too much information about individual people, and that may not, it's not likely the same phenomena as the middle school dip that you see, because we don't see that pattern in all K-8s necessarily. So there's some other factors we consider there.
Got it. And the other thing was, when I first got on the school board, one of my first questions was pertaining to specific goals as it pertains to achievement. And this is pretty much what I had in mind. And so it's really exciting to finally see it,
Yeah.
touch it and smell it and feel it. So that's pretty exciting. So thank you for that. And to a comment that you had made, you made a lot of comments, but and you shared a lot, but it does require a new, different, a whole nother level of collaboration from top to bottom, buy-in from the teachers, all the different teams, SAP teams at the school sites, more importantly, teacher leaders. So I mean, so much that goes into this, right? Into this lag goal that I refer it to as far as the 80% of our students reaching their best growth targets, and then the lead indicators, which or the lead goals, which are the conditional growth percentiles. And so and I also kind of want to point out that those teacher leaders or those high performing teachers, those are I refer to those members of teams as A players, and then there's some other team members that are kind of struggling, and so this is not really meant to be punitive towards those those team members that are maybe struggling, but more so to identify those members, those team members, and support them, provide supports to help them become those A players that we want them to become, that we know they can become, that they want to become, right? Because that's why they joined this profession,
Right.
to help kids achieve. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share.
Thank you for sharing.
Trustee Ahmad, you got your light on. Do you have a question? Trustee Fleek? Oh, sorry. Oh, I said Fleek already. Go ahead, Fleek. You have a question?
Okay. Go ahead.
Let her, I went ahead and said her, let her finish. I'll go back to you. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say, I wish we could find a way to get people with math minds that would want to be teachers. Because I know a lot of people that have really been good, in math, but they always want to go somewhere else. They don't consider teaching, which is too bad, because it would really help our students.
Yeah, it's true. They want to go be engineers. That's right.
Trustee Dybert?
Once again, I know speak for a lot of our trustees. Thank you so much for, along with all the other staff, for explaining and taking, being patient with us as we learn, because we don't live this. And one of the things that I visited some schools along with you, and we went to visit last, it was on September 5th. I didn't get to report the last time, but we visited some of the Red Pyramid schools. And one of them was Monroe. The other one was Desmond and Torres High School, and I believe Pershing as well. So for Monroe, it reflects, when we visited the classroom, the results that we see here. We saw great classroom management to start with, and then great engagement. As much as, we disturbed the classroom, the students were engaged. They followed the teacher, they answered, and you can tell they were relaxed. They were not being forced, to be engaged. So I think that was great for us to see that, and it reflects on this. The same thing for Desmond, Mrs. Jennifer Tosky, who presented the last time. She was just so excited. We were getting ready to leave, and she showed us how the kids perform, because they attended a math camp at UC Merced. And you heard it, we all heard it, how the kids were so excited. So she was really excited about seeing how the students are going to perform and being engaged on that respect. The same thing happened at Pershing. We heard about the sixth grade, the test scores, and yeah, everybody was very proud of the results. There is only one thing, a concern that one time a teacher in the middle school expressed to me. She says by the time, and it was for math, by the time they get to them, they feel that the students are not prepared for the class. So she says there is a little gap. It could be the age level, or she was wondering if maybe some of this, maybe these math camps, or just excitement, because we all express, nobody goes to a math class and you're all nervous to start with. You don't know what you're gonna get, whether you're gonna perform. So I'm wondering if some of this, these camps, or could be start even at the earlier level. And I know we don't measure first and second grade, and we're talking about mastering. Maybe a report in the future how the students in kindergarten, first or second grade are doing, that will help a third grade teacher as well when they receive the students. I think for me, I prefer if you tell me if at an early age or when I'm younger, if I'm sick or something, this is what you have, rather than telling me maybe I got an A, but performing wise, I'm not performing to my grade level. I prefer as a parent too, I think a lot of parents to know how their students are performing. So they need to be report, once again, like Trustee Cortez has mentioned a few times, I think is very important, whether you develop it to be something else, but I think constant reports, if it's not done at the teacher conferences, maybe done in a different way, that student and parent are sitting with the teacher, encouraging them, telling them you advance, because the students advance. They're not quite there yet, but you advance, and this is where you are. We would like you to be here. So I think those key ingredients, I think with all the work that the teachers are doing, and they're doing a tremendous job. I've seen them in action, so I can speak for that. I think that should help bring in the student responsibility and action, and taking control of their own at an early age. I think we can do that. Like we tell our kids, you need to make your bed or put your shoes here. I think the same thing could happen, but yeah, I'm happy to see all of this, maybe just some cross-training from, like Trustee Cortez said, teachers that are doing well in the classroom, maybe help their peers, even if it's not in the same school. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Trustee Seibert?
No questions, thank you.
Clerk Mendoza?
Yes, Assistant Superintendent Rocio. You mentioned that that some of the schools have a dip and there's variables and reasons that maybe can't explain or something. But I was wondering, I wonder if it's because it's a new class, or they're going into a new grade and new materials that kind of gives them that slow start, and then eventually once they get used to that, those materials, and they start to advance and gain momentum. I'm guessing that might be one of the reasons. New class, new grade, new teachers, new material, and it just takes them a minute to get a hold of it. And once they do, I think they'll do great.
Yeah, I think we can see that dip you're describing in 7th grade and 9th grade. The setting's so different. We see those dips. I could see that being an explanation for those grade levels. What's interesting about the other grade levels is that it's comparing students to each other. And so it'll take 3rd graders in Madera Unified and compare them to 3rd graders, and even in a different state. And so the comparison really it controls for those other variables, like all 3rd graders are going through what 3rd graders go through in every state. And so there is a really great comparison there. So the fact that we're growing at such a high rate does indicate that we didn't experience the level of regression that some of the other communities have, even just around us, but also that we've continued the growth rate for several years now, as I've reported to the board. So, yeah.
think it's just maybe, well, I'm thinking maybe it's just an adjustment period as you
Yeah.
move forward, you know, and then once you pick up momentum, you just keep advancing. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
So, I appreciate your reporting, but I take the reports you give here and then I compare the winter, well, the fall to the spring. So like Nishimoto, I was looking at your graph here and, you know, in the math, they had the growth, which it does. But in the reading, it looks like from the growth from winter to now, that they kind of stayed the same, their growth rate. So that concerns me because they should have grown more during the spring. They've already been in school several months. And in some of these areas like Desmond as well, in the 6th grade, while coming into 7th grade, also the growth rate actually went down. So in comparing the fall to the spring, when I look at this, 'cause that's what I get, and I compare them, and those are concerning to me. Even Pershing kind of stayed complacent. And my concern is when our students get to that level, like we said, like the gentleman said last meeting, Fabrice Seymour said, is to push that rigor with them. You know, even though, like you said, they're 99%, doesn't matter, they could get to 120. Keep on pushing them. And that's what my concern is, that some of these reports, and I went one step further, I compared middle schools and Martin Luther King, and comparing fall to winter, I mean, to spring, they didn't have no growth. They were the same when you compare the two. And again, I go by these reports you guys give us. And I compare the 2 times that we get the reporting, and MLK didn't grow. Actually, Desmond kind of stayed the same. And TJ, you know, they maintained, like they grew a little bit, which is good. But then I go to the high schools, and South Campus, we went down. When you compare them, we went down. So those were my concerns, because I don't know what we're missing. There are our site principals or different vice principals. Well, of course, for South, you have different vice principals and so forth, that we're missing that. We're still missing the target. And then when you go to your summary of the growth, you know, you have like Berenda's at what, 31%, but yet when I look at this report, they look better, more generous compared to other countries, which is fantastic. But my concern is what they're doing now. And so now when fall comes in from this next reporting, they just finished the testing that I compared to these, and what did they grow? You know, what are they growing from that one beginning, taking the test, and now, and I'm seeing some of our schools are staying the same. The growth rate isn't as really, as you break down here with the more micro vision than here, what you're showing of the comparison to the rest of the country, I guess. But my thing is, our school district, I don't want us to become complacent with our students when they reach they're at 98%. Keep on going, keep on having the rigor, pushing them. Like we said, we don't want them to have the mindset of pobrecito. We want them to reach their goals as beyond whatever they can do, beyond what they could maybe think they could accomplish. But that was the only thing that I needed to point out. But other than that, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Oh, we have a member of the public, I believe it might be Miss Erin Falk. Principal raised her hand.
Okay.
What was that? I didn't understand what you said.
I think principal from Pershing, Erin Falk, sorry, Nishimoto. She raised her hand during the comment.
Actually, Nishimoto, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to address, because I know when you started, you had a question about Nishimoto. And I just did want to point out that on NWEA, we did not show that every cohort showed growth. But when we got to CASP, I think it's important to remember too, that last spring NWEA is not the end of the year. We did show considerable growth in every grade level that took the CASP, as well as had significant growth in our foundational reading in our primary grade levels from the beginning to the end of the year. And then every cohort from year to year on CASP also showed significant growth. So it might not have shown on NWEA, but in the end game, when we looked at our state testing, we had really good results.
Well, thank you for sharing, but we won't, unfortunately, we won't see that CAS report till next year. But what we see right now, what I could see right now, what was reported, that's what we're saying. And a good thing, you're reporting that, hey, they have had some growth, and thank you for sharing that information.
You're welcome.
President Salazar, I have a question.
Trustee Dyber, you have another question?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So this is the report for last year, and the students have taken the first NWA for this year.
Yes.
And we're supposed to get quarterly reports, so they take it 3 times a year, correct, NWA?
That's correct. Fall, winter, and spring.
Okay, so when will we be seeing the next report? I know after NWA, you guys have a SAP meeting and then the principal and the leadership analysis. So I was wondering, President Salazar, when, so we get this in a timely manner, because this is I know it takes sometimes a while, so.
I agree, we've been pushing it. I
Yeah,
agree.
so
We've been
I would
pushing
like
it.
to see this a little more closer to right after this, the sub teams meet. And then that's just my question, doesn't need to be answered now, but that might be something that President Salazar and Superintendent Lyle will work, because I would like to see that more.
Yeah, we have been working on
Quarterly,
that,
please.
and we've been trying to make sure those things are on the calendar and stuff, but staff, executive staff knows. I'm sure superintendent has made them aware.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm happy to report on fall. The challenge with fall is it's really just a baseline. So it doesn't really measure growth, it just measures where students are. Winter is a checkpoint. It's a diagnostic where you're measuring where students are in winter. You can see some growth, but it's very early to tell. It would be the equivalent of wondering how a football team is doing. You just go watch them practice. It's not really the game, you're just watching them practice. And then really where you see the information and that's usable data for teachers, because they look at it, they see where their students are, then they adjust their teaching for where their students are based on the standards they're measuring. But in terms of growth rates, we do checkpoints, but it really doesn't tell you a whole lot. It's not reliable in terms of growth projections. You see some, but I don't necessarily base our CASP data on it. Really, it's fall to spring where you finally see a whole season's worth of practice. And then that NWA assessment's in early spring, and it gives you one last chance to adjust before CASP. So in terms of this data, late spring, we have it. So I'm happy to come back in late spring because we have it then. CASP data, as you know, we don't get it until the state gives it to us, which is around September, October, depending on what year you're looking at.
I'll let President Salazar and discuss that with Superintendent Lyle. You can show it, and maybe President Salazar, is your discretion whether you feel that that data should be shared with the entire board at this.
What should
at the
be
time.
shared, exactly?
Well, Assistant Superintendent Rodriguez is saying that the fall NWA results might not show the true growth
It is
of the
here.
students.
When you look at this report, it says here, so for instance, the first school that you look at, this is for Red Pyramid report. That's the first set they give us. So if you look at it, it says, it starts with, this is Berinda, starts with all grades. And this is fall 22-23, then it goes to spring, then it goes to 23-24. This starts with fall 23-24, and then it goes to spring. So it does do it. On this report here that they give us.
On that, but not on
After.
the other.
Right,
list.
after a
Yeah.
whole year's worth of data,
Yeah,
you
so
can
that's
go, you
what,
go
when I
false.
take it and I put, for instance, like Berinda, I'll put, if I turn to Berinda here, let's just say the fourth graders. What I look at is, according to this, in the fall, they were at 27.7. No, excuse me, I take that back. In the fall, they were at 29, and then they were at 28 growth. So really, they went down a point.
Is that the growth, or is that the?
It's a
I want to
different-
make sure. I
it's a
want to make
different
sure
measure.
that.
It's a
Yeah,
different
so
measure
that
that-
is.
I can try to
Comment-
clarify. I don't have it projected to be able to show, but the quarterly reports, we were asked to report on achievement, where we measure the percent of students who meted or exceeded standard. And so all it does is it tells you which students reached that level, a standard. It doesn't tell you how fast they grew, how far beyond it, how close students who didn't reach it got. that's where this metric is the most informational. So I think we need to reconcile the quarterly reports and this report. This report seems to be of interest to the board. It's what we base our work on as a general measure. We dig down much deeper, but in terms of what's digestible to people in a short period of time, this is what we look at. But the quarterly reports are just achievement. So you really can't look at where they start in fall, where they start in winter, when they start in spring in terms of achievement and infer a ton. And you also can't compare those metrics to this. They're two different metrics. One is, if I were to make it a business, I would say, how big is your business? That's achievement. How fast your business is growing is growth. So if I tell you my business is growing really, really fast, it's doubled. You go, that's a very fast rate of growth. Yeah, it went from $1 to $2. Well, it doesn't, so there's another metric. We look at distance from standard. How close are you? So we look at multiple measures. But I think the quarterly reports, at this point, we should probably rethink what's in them. And so I'd be happy to explore that so that things align a little better. I think as a staff, we've gotten better at it. So I think we can provide a better report this year.
Yeah, because like this report here, like it's saying ready, like ready to exceed. So at that percentage, like say I'm using Beretta because it's the first one. So it's saying fourth graders are at 29% of the class, right, is ready to exceed. That's what the column says. But then, and then you go in the spring, there was 28%. So then that's telling me, well, they went down 1%. But then when we come to the meeting and you bring this report, well, you're telling me here, well, they're doing 98%, but yet, what is given to us to look at and to review, and then when we have over here as a chart, is two different things. And if you're telling me they're two different approaches, then we want that same approach, I would say, as trustees, so we could already have that mindset, so when we come, we're ready with our questions.
So, President Salazar, so I think what we have here in the, I don't have my handout with me, but the grade level readiness, I think that's like even more of a lag goal than the 80% of our students reaching their best growth target, right? Yes, this here, right? I think, is this what you're talking about, President?
Yeah, because it says ready to exceed, so it's a
Right.
percentage of that class. Is that whole fourth grade class?
Right. So I think the whole point of the 80% of our students, being or reaching their best growth targets is for them to eventually, improve these scores as well, right? And then the lead indicator to the 80% of our students reaching their best growth target is these CG.
Percentile growth.
Percentile growth.
Yeah, but we're reading this, it doesn't coincide with this.
Right. No, I also mentioned this at our last meeting as well.
Yeah.
I believe, right?
The reporting's not coincided because I'm just saying, like myself and the trustees, we look at these reports and we come with this mindset of asking you questions, and it totally throws us off when we go with this, because even though you're saying 98%, 96% compared to the country, we know our students still need a lot of work on math, even though I do appreciate the students have increased their math, which is very good, but we still, and like, I know fourth and fifth are suffering almost in every school site, because those were our students when we had to close down because of COVID. Those are those that were affected because they were like in kinder, and that's why, so I think that's why they're still trying to reach that, learning those reading tools that they're missed out or whatever it must have been. But that's what my concern is. I know the information is there, is that way, just to have a filter in the right report for us to understand. So when we come to these growth meetings, we understand what you're trying to share with us.
Understood.
President Salazar, so just so I understand, so Assistant Superintendent Rodriguez, so this report, it's better understood if we wait the full term of the fall to the spring. Correct?
Yes, it would be in terms of
In order for
in terms of seeing a year's worth of growth.
Yeah. Okay,
It would be.
I'm understanding,
It's
yes.
like, how good is your team? Well, let's wait for the game.
Right. And this right here, this is the actual performance of the students, right? On each of the tests when it's administered, like in the fall or the spring, right?
All it shows, all that measure shows is very limited. All it shows is the percentage of students who met standard or exceeded standard.
Right.
It doesn't tell you anything beyond that.
Right.
Mhm.
But I think I still would like to see this. I'm understanding a little more the difference between this and this. I still would like to see this quarterly report, even if it's not presented at the board. I think right after every NWA, it gives us because we have our sheets here to kind of compare it and have the previous one. I haven't thrown mine away. I will keep them and kind of see how they're growing. So for me, it's helpful, even if it's not a board presentation per se, but a report that is given to us in our newsletter or whenever the superintendent provides that to us.
Yeah, and I wouldn't like it in a newsletter. I would like it printed out and give it to us in our packages when they're ready. Because reading too much in computers and stuff is too much for your vision. So just a printed copy, we have the printing source to do it, but just a more relatable report in printing how, we need to have those benchmarks of where our students are doing, because we get asked that, and then we still have some parents that are concerned of their own individual students that don't seem to be getting it, and, do they need the tutoring and all that other stuff that comes into play. Other than that, any more questions?
I
Oh,
do
light
have
up.
one
Go
more
ahead.
comment regarding the analogy with the game or, business. I do have, I absolutely want to see the game day, right? But also I do like to check in and, check out how practice is going. I guess more along the business, when I hire somebody and I, prepare them to go and be a producer and write business on their own, there's, weekly, multiple times, during the week that we go over role playing and scripting, and before they're released and, to go out and, get their, write business on their own. So I do like the idea of checking in after the NWA exams, just as a check-in. So I do like that idea.
We do get some data in winter that's usable. I mean, it'll give you a sense of how they're trending
Yeah, because they do one in the winter, right?
in winter.
Yeah.
So then at that point, we have fall as a starting point, and then we measure their growth rate from fall to winter.
Okay.
So winter is a logical report.
I would appreciate that. Yes.
I think it's important to also know that for our teachers, this is diagnostic. We're just not measuring it and, okay, so we know we're at 36 or we know we're at 82 or that's really beside the point. What we want to know out of this is where are our kids struggling and how can we target our instruction to address that. So what you're looking at are diagnostic tools, right? You're not necessarily looking at like achievement. That's the hard part here. And this is where we have some things that are very mixed up in how we understand this. And if you remember what Babatunde was trying to do at one point, was trying to give us something that helped us see where the good work was being done so that we could help, target where our efforts might be necessary and where we could learn from the teacher teams that were succeeding. But we should always understand NWA as a diagnostic, right? This is not an achievement test. It's a diagnostic test that should help our teachers to do the work they're doing. And I think we're seeing good evidence of that. I mean, you wouldn't see them growing like this if they weren't utilizing this data to make corrections to their instruction and to augment where they know the kids are struggling. They're using this to uncover that and to add some remedies to their instruction. So it's really important. We'll talk about this some more internally, and we'll figure out the best options to bring you for future reports that provide you the clarity you're looking for.
Yeah, Coach, it's understandable because I think in our discussion we had, I think since last year when we were trying to build our calendar and everything, was that we wanted periodic bench reporting where our achievement is of our students. So, and the same thing, we see it, but I think it puts a light to yourself as a principal. Where do I need to focus on over here? Where do we need to do more collaboration? And what's working, what's not working, and it helps you to reevaluate themselves. And that's why for us, and I'm saying us as a trustees, we've asked for the bench reports, however you want to diagnostic, how you want to label it, but we need a bench report quarterly from our school district. Thank you. Moving on now, announcements. Superintendent Lau, do you have any announcements for the board?
I do have a few, and thank you, Horacio, for that report.
Thank you. Disappeared already. There he is. Sorry.
We have a Community Advisory Committee public meeting on Wednesday, September 25th at Madera County Superintendent of Schools at 5 p.m. September and October are busy months filled with district and community events. Below is a list of events the district has reserved tables for, and we have invitations for these events. So on September 26th at Madera County Superintendent of Schools, we have the Excellence in Education Awards, and we have staff that are being honored there that evening from 5:30 to 8:30. The Madera Unified School District Parent and Community Engagement Conference is this Friday, September 27th at Torres High School from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. That's a really great turnout. Many of you have always been there to support that event. We also have football that night, so it'll be a pretty interesting parking lot, I'm sure. Teaching Fellows will hold its annual gala this Friday at Fort Washington Golf and Country Club from 6 to 9 p.m. The Madera Rescue Mission's annual banquet is set for Thursday, October 3rd at Hatfield Hall from 6 to 8 p.m. The Classified Student Champion course is set for Monday, October 7th from 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. in the Desmond Cafeteria. I'll be sure to be there for that. And Madera High School's homecoming parade and game will take place on Friday, October 4th. Once plans are finalized, we'll share those with our trustees. In the meantime, if you'd like to drive a vehicle for any of the homecoming parades, please contact our office. Go Big Blue. I had to do it.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Item number 15A, miscellaneous. Board members, committee, and information reports. Trustees, this time as an opportunity for you to provide board with a brief update on a report from committee meetings or events you may have attended. We start with Trustee Dybert.
Yes, this is from the last time because our meeting went too long. I'm not going to report everything that I attended, but I just want to express my thank you to the district staff and the administrative staff of the schools that we visited, like I mentioned before, Monroe, Desmond, Torres High School, Pershing, Washington, and Madison. They all made us feel very welcome. They fed us. Mrs. Rock prepared a meat lasagna. She said it was Mrs. LaQuash's recipe from her grandmother. Just that, and I attended also the stadium ribbon cutting ceremony. It was really nice to be at the stadium touring. I think that's all I have for now to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Dybert. Trustee Cortez.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. Trustee Ahmad.
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Trustee Fleek.
Okay, football is going well for all our young men at all the high schools, and flag football is being enjoyed by our young ladies. The Mules Wrestling Championship was held on Saturday, September 14th. The event was exciting for both boys and girls and was well attended. Several schools have had several activities for the celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month, and Madera High School had their first school site council meeting yesterday, and I'm sure a lot of the schools are having school site councils this month because school is starting again. Officers are being elected and a lot of important information is being shared. Saturday is the Old Timers Day Parade and also the opening of the playground in Courthouse Park. It's fenced off, but they're going to open it up. The Historical Society Museum will celebrate their 50th anniversary. So a lot of things are happening. Thank you.
Trustee Seibert.
No report tonight.
Clerk Mendoza.
Thank you. No report. Thank you.
Okay. For myself, I really don't have nothing to report other than whatever you guys already mentioned. Only that I attended the 9/11 ceremony right there by the museum. It was an awesome. They had that piece of steel that they brought from the 9/11 from over there from the Twin Towers. And it was a good, heartwarming presentation. To go back and see, when you have a chance, go see those different dedications they left there around the museum. And then, like Trustee Fleek said, this weekend on the 28th, they're going to have the ribbon cutting. It's the 50th anniversary, right? Isn't it? Yeah. So if you guys could attend, we're going to have a lot of, a lot of band and everything could be attending. They're going to be down the parade. And also they're going to be performing at the stage as well after the parade. We're going to have cheer. Some of the different cheerleaders and the band are going to be performing. Also, our mariachi band's going to be performing there too on Saturday. So that'd be good to, our youth mariachis are going to be performing that day too, probably about 12 o'clock. Other than that, that's about it. It is 8:35 and I adjourn this meeting. Thank you.